Growing up and watching westerns, there's nobody more that I wanted to replicate and be than the infamous cowboy John Wayne. Now, most of you probably know him as an actor, but you may not know what happened to him just before he passed away. This is that story. Reverend Robert Schuyler's teenage daughter, Carol, was in a motorcycle accident and had to have her leg amputated. John Wayne was a big fan of Robert Schuyler. He heard Dr. Schuyler say in one of his programs that his daughter had been in an accident and had to have her leg amputated. John Wayne took the paper, writing her a letter saying, "Dear Carol, sorry to hear about your accident. Hope you'll be all right. Signed, John Wayne." The note was delivered to her, and she decided to write John Wayne a letter in reply. She wrote, "Dear Mr. Wayne, I got your note. Thanks for writing me. I like you very much. I'm going to be all right because Jesus is going to help me. Mr. Wayne, do you know Jesus? I sure hope you know Jesus, Mr. Wayne, because I cannot imagine heaven being complete without John Wayne being there. I hope if you don't know Jesus, that you'll give your heart to him right now. See you in heaven." And she signed her name. She had just put that letter in an envelope, sealed it, and written across the front of it, "John Wayne," when a visitor from her father's church came into her room to see her. He asked, "What are you doing?" She said, "I just wrote a letter to John Wayne, but I don't know how to get it to him." He said, "That's funny. I'm going to have dinner with him tonight at the Newport Club down at Newport Beach. Give it to me and I'll see to it I get it to him." She gave him the letter and he put it in his coat pocket. There were 12 of them that night sitting around the table for dinner. They were laughing and cutting up. The gentleman happened to reach into his pocket and felt the letter and remembered. John Wayne was seated at the end of the table. The gentleman took out the letter and said, "Hey Duke, I was in Schuyler's daughter's room today. She wrote you a letter and wanted me to give it to you." The letter has changed hands down the long table, passed down to John Wayne. The laughing and the joking continued, and somebody happened to look down at Mr. Wayne, and he was crying. One of the guests takes note and says, "Hey Duke, what's wrong?" He replies in a muddled voice, I want to read you this letter." He began to weep as he was reading it and folded it back up and put it in his pocket. He points to the gentleman who delivered the letter. He said, "You go tell that little girl that right now, in this restaurant, right here, John Wayne gives his heart to Jesus Christ and I will see her in heaven." Weeks later, John Wayne died. See, you never know how your witness to others will affect their eternity.
It seems like you added up my life and I'd spent it all either stomping other men or, in some cases, getting stomped. Had me some money and had me some medals, but none of it seemed a lifetime worth the pain of the mother that bore me. It was like I was empty. Well, I'm not empty anymore. That's what's important. To feel useful in this old world. To hit a lick against what's wrong or to say a word for what's right, even though you get walloped for saying that word. Now, I may sound like a Bible beater yelling up a revival at a river crossing camp meeting, but that don't change the truth none. There's right and there's wrong. You gotta do one or the other. You do the one and you're living. You do the other and you may be walking around, but you're dead as a beaver hat.